Check this out. Dababy going out sad. It's all happening. There's a hopeful moment at the end of Dababy's latest video, Boogeyman, off his 4th studio album, Baby on Baby 2. It's a horror-themed visual that's a mashup of Candyman and Michael Jackson's Thriller. It opens with 5 friends venturing into a decrepit old haunted house in search of the Boogeyman. There's a young black couple, 2 white dudes, and presumably a member of the LGBTQ community. All-inclusive affair. They creep down a set of stairs, up another flight, amble into the main room where they run across a dusty old mirror. Then, in unison, they all chant, "That ain't the baby, that's my baby. That ain't the baby, that's my baby. That ain't the baby, that's my baby." 3 times like Candyman. Then boom! Out pops out a zombified Dababy who wreaks comedic havoc on the motley crew. One of the guys gets yoked down a hallway to his death. Another suffers death by bugs. Morgan, the woman, she gets dragged underneath a bed, sealing her fate. Then at the very end, Elijah, who appears to be a member of the LGBTQ community, crawls out of a crawl space, barely making it out of the haunted house alive. He stands up, turns around, and there's Dababy the Boogeyman leaping out in front of him. Plot twist though, plot twist, the two actually frighten each other. But rather than murder Elijah like the rest of his friends, Dababy the Boogeyman says, "Shit, you scared me. Like you seen a mud-scutting boogeyman or something. Hey look, glad you made it out of there though, know what I'm saying?" He daps up Elijah 3 times, hugs him, then says, "I fucks with you. I'ma go finish this new album." Then as he walks away, he points back at Elijah and says, "Hey, my bad about that Rolling Loud shit too. I mean that. Big misunderstanding." Elijah stands there for a beat dumbfounded, completely dumbfounded, as if he can't believe he didn't get murdered along with the rest of his homies. It looks like a happy ending for him, all the way up until he gets yanked into outer space, but either way, the point had been made. Dababy was once again apologizing to the LGBTQ community for comments he made during Rolling Loud 2021. Those comments turned the entire industry against him. Up until that moment, Dababy was easily one of the biggest acts on the planet. He just rattled off an impressive streak of 3 #1 albums, 2 #1 songs, a gaggle of platinum plaques. Then, while on the Rolling Loud stage, the Charlotte, North Carolina lyricist, out of nowhere, completely unprompted, said this.
"You didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks. Put a cell phone light in the up. Lady, if your pussy smell like water, put a cell phone light in the up. Fellas. Lights up. Fellas, if you ain't sucking nigga dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone lights in the up.
Let's be real about this shit.
Yeah, keep it fucking real.
Some of y'all niggas suspect as a motherfucker. Let's be real.
Jesus, that ain't Dababy, that's crazy. That's a supremely asinine, unforced error. And when called out about it in the days after, Dababy went da-ignorant. He went on IG Live and said, "My gay fans, they take care of themselves. They ain't no nasty gay niggas, see what I'm saying? They ain't no junkies in the street." Then I said, "If you ain't sucking D in the parking lot, put your cell phone lighter up." You know what my gay fans did? Put that motherfucking light up, nigga, cause my gay fans ain't going for that. They got class. They ain't sucking no D in no parking lot. He also minimized that moment on stage by describing it as a call to action. A call to action, but in what 2021 world is that type of call to action ever necessary? Think about this. There wasn't some song in his catalog that required that type of crowd work to get into. This wasn't a call to action at all. This was an unnecessary spewing of dangerous and archaic stereotypes. Now, this is one of the biggest stories of 2021. All of this is out there. No need for me to completely rehash this titanic series of unfortunate events, but Dababy suffered greatly from that misstep. He had a collaboration with fashion brand Boogeyman lined up. They dropped him. He was booked to perform at Lollapalooza in Chicago, Governor's Ball in New York City, Las Vegas's Day in Vegas Festival. All of them dropped him. He had a #1 song called Levitating with Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa spoke out against Dababy, and 2 pop stations in Florida pulled his verse from the song. It's all happening. Now, I'd like to say DaBaby worked tirelessly to make amends for his word vomit, but honestly, that's hard to really tell because DaBaby maintained the position that his comments weren't the problem at all. No, his comments were fine. The whole world misunderstood his comments. That was the real problem, and that's something no one wants to hear after someone is caught in 4K equating the words AIDS with the words gay in 2021, and you work in entertainment. Now, to DaBaby's credit, he did release a formal apology on Instagram. He later deleted the post. Why? I don't have the answer to these questions, but he still also met with GLAAD and 9 other organizations to learn more about HIV and AIDS. They released a joint statement saying that DaBaby apologized for the inaccurate and hurtful comments he made about people living with HIV and received our personal stories and the truth about HIV and its impact on Black and LGBTQ communities with deep respect. Links in description. But it's been a long road back for DaBaby, and closing his Boogeyman video by apologizing again for his comments at Rolling Loud for a moment felt like a closing of a tumultuous chapter in his once stratospheric career. That could have been the story of DaBaby's The Boogeyman video. It should have been the story, but it wasn't, because in that same song for that same video, DaBaby punches himself in the face again by opening the song with, "You played with me, that shit was childish. The day before she said Tory Lanez shot her, I was effing on Megan Thee Stallion. Waited to say that shit on my next album. Hit it the day before too, but I kept it player, I ain't say nothing about it. Had her pretty boy boyfriend tweeting me, ready to die about that bitch like a coward."
Jesus Christ.
It gets worse. Morgan, the girlfriend in the video that gets dragged under the bed, Morgan is played by a Megan Thee Stallion lookalike. The Megan Thee Stallion Tory Lanez situation, that's a whole nother breakdown on itself, but essentially, here's a woman who was allegedly shot by a man she had been dealing with, and here comes DaBaby publicly taunting her on wax. That's a special kind of tacky on its own, but now the bars don't even make sense. The bars don't even make sense. Look, he literally says he kept it player by not saying anything about it, not talking about they belly smacking, he was keeping it player until it was time to intentionally talk about it because he waited for his next album. That is actually the definition of childish. And of course, that's the only thing the timeline talked about. Pretty Weirdo 5 on Twitter. Megan Thee Stallion was not wrong when she said in NDA, when they shit ain't poppin', they using Megan for marketing. And that's exactly what DaBaby just did. Wouldn't have even heard the song or anything about the song if he didn't say something about her. And Pretty Weirdo 5 is absolutely correct. DaBaby is using Megan for marketing. He literally said it. He waited to say it on his next album. Now add this to the very public conflicts he's had with Danny Lee, his baby mother, and DaBaby has successfully compounded problems with the LGBT community with problems with women. And the numbers reflect that. Check this out. DaBaby's 2019 album, Baby on Baby, platinum. DaBaby's second 2019 album, Kirk, platinum. DaBaby's 2020 album, Blame It On Baby, platinum. Debuted with 124,000 first week sales. DaBaby's 2022 release, Blame It On Baby 2, expected to sell somewhere between 13K and 16K. 13,000 to 16,000, from number 1 to not at all. Yeezus. The point is this. A number of artists have speculated that DaBaby has been blackballed and that's why his sales have evaporated. But I think the biggest issue, the underlying issue, is that DaBaby lost sight of what made him a compelling MC in the first place. For example, DaBaby's been criticized for years for seemingly remaking the same song over and over and over and over again. His flows always seem to fall into the same pockets. He seemingly caters exclusively to the turn-up audience, and those creative decisions were seemingly intentional. During a visit to the Breakfast Club, when asked by Charlemagne how he feels about criticism levied against him that he raps with the same flow, DaBaby said, "As far as switching the flow, I have no problem rapping circles around any one of these niggas. I couldn't find myself entertaining that. I could joke about it just like I joke about everything else. I'll make a conscious album right now. I'll record the whole shit today on some J. Cole vibes. Joyner Lucas, I can get in there too." At the end of the day, I understand what's going on. You gotta milk the game. You gotta take advantage of it. If I switch it too quick, you ain't gonna like it. You're gonna be like, damn baby, I wanted you to turn me up. When you got something going, you would be a fool to step on your own toes and go left with it. At the end of the day, I understand what's going on. You gotta milk the game when you got something going. You would be a fool to step on your own toes and go left with it. Dababy said this. Now, I became a fan of Dababy off the Blank Blank tape, back when he used to rep the Charlotte Hornets on his album covers and flex different flows and perspectives on tracks like Beeper and Next Song, and most importantly, used to rap about being the best rapper because showcasing how incredible he could rap was still important to him. That was a long time ago. And instead of reminding the world that he can creatively offer something other than rehashed turn-up tracks, on Baby 2, Dababy returns to the same long dried up well, then steps on his own toes by compounding his issues with the LGBTQ community with brand new issues with women. The album sounds flat, it sounds flaccid, and it's tracking to do 16K first week. 16K first week. I mean, Jesus, has there ever been a fall off this abrupt with this much self-sabotage? Can you even turn up a party if the ladies no longer love you? I don't have the answer to these questions.
Static selector.
Another Saturday, another TBD. Thank you guys for rocking with me each week. I really appreciate it. I'm a huge fan of Dababy. He's from the Carolinas. I'm from the Carolinas. The first episode of The Drip that I ever did was actually on Dababy, off that track Next Song, off the Blank Blank tape, which I love. If you look at the thumbnails to these videos, Blank Blank tape is in there. That's how much of a Dababy fan I am. I am not a fan of any of these things I've seen over the past couple of years when it comes to him. He just looks extremely non-self-aware. I think that this is an opportunity for him to really look at, not himself, I don't want to talk about who he is as a person, but look at the music he's making. And when you alienate two massive factions of your base, the LGBTQ community and women, you're gonna need something to fortify that, and I'm not sure he's proven that over the past 3 years. Also, as always, gotta shout out the analysts, Big shout out to Jonas Berry, James Gillespie, David Goggins, Andrew Blaubaum, Afolabi Martins, Bryson Townsend, Brian Boyce, Andrew Fonstall, Chaco Kicks, I love that name, Chaco Kicks. Jeremy Borrego, Jake LaMotta, Ethan McNew. Thank you guys for your support. What these guys did, they all found my Linktree and they donated to the show to help support this mission each and every week. So thank you for your support, that's priceless. Let me know what you think about Dababy. Like, is it really possible to be a big pop star and not have women and not have the LGBTQ community on your side? I mean, I don't think so, I've never seen it. Let me know what you think about that. Also, let me know what happens to an artist when they alienate their bases. Is there an opportunity for Dababy to reinvent himself? Do you think that he's gonna be able to do that? Or do you think this is the end for what truthfully was one of the most meteoric rises I've seen in modern history? Let me know in the comments section. My name is Justin Hunte. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow @TheCompanyMan on everything. And as always, it's all happening.